And so that level of complexity and whole community is what is supposed to be in place, you know, for children to acquire their first language properly. And so for the deaf community and the hard of hearing children, we need to make as many attempts as possible to have that kind of language input, you know, like when we talk about our typical early grade reading programs and the need for a print-rich environment. That's always mentioned because people take the oral part of language as a given. But in the case of sign language, there's just the amount of exposure is so reduced that it really needs to be practice that is spread out throughout the community, whether hearing or not.
Okay. Thank you very much for that great answer. And we take a question from Roy, and he says, can you share your thoughts on the role of ECCD teachers in sign language introducing?
The question again?
Okay, Roy wants to understand if Dr. McBride can share her thoughts on the role of ECCD teachers in sign language introduction.
I'm afraid I'm not familiar with ECCD.
Okay, Roy, if you are with us, kindly help us with the meaning so that your question can be tackled well for you. Thank you very much.
So, okay, and so Jody is also communicating with me that this has to do with teaching via home visits.
Okay, so Dr. McBride, ECCD stands for Early Childhood Education. Thank you. So Roy wants you to share your thoughts on the role of the early childhood education in the introduction.
Well, early childhood is exactly, you know, what I was just saying about, you know, being able to give enough input to trigger the natural mechanisms for learning language and reaching full fluency. And so, you know, even the project that I just presented on this, we're worried because children who are in these schools are with adults who are teaching them during part of the day who aren't even fully fluent in the language, you know, their primary form of communication. And that just, it's been established that if you don't get sufficient stimulation in language processes in early years, it can create just a barrier for learning for the rest of your life. And so it is precisely in early childhood education when you need just that richness, that, you know, that exposure. And, you know, people, when they talk about young children learning a new language, use that phrase that's so common that they're just sponges and they pick up languages. That is true, but they can only pick up that which is around them. So in order to be fully fluent, you have to be around fully fluent language use. You have to see how multiple people interact. You have to see, you know, just to even learn signals, you have to see the way it looks in that speaker, the different kind of variety and so forth. And so, you know, I can take a parallel. In fact, we're looking at what's happening with COVID around the world and how the gaps between the students who have more resources and the students who have less resources are widening, because when you aren't face to face with your teacher and your peers, and you're not experiencing the full richness of being with someone. Of, you know, a lot of students are just dropping out of education because even as hearing students, there is so much that's missing from the kind of education that they're able to access at a distance. That kind of lack of richness in education that, you know, these hearing children are experiencing now is a parallel to some of the difficulties that so many deaf children are experiencing in their communities, where there are just few people to interact with, few, you know, or when Jody showed me some of these videos of the signing music, I was watching another one by the Ian who does the TikTok, and one of his videos is describing even going out and, you know, a hearing person can walk down the street and catch snatches of conversation, and, you know, describing that that piece that's missing, you know, that if a child isn't surrounded by people of all ages using their first language.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We would also like to hear from Dr. Jody Cripps. What are your thoughts on the same issue?
I'm not going to type, I'm going to use sign language.
Okay.
In America, and in Africa, they have similar issues. About 50% of the deaf children, the parents are hearing, they can't sign. And this means that where do they learn sign language? They grow up without learning language fully. To school, then they start to learn sign language, and it progresses from there. So before getting to school, staying in the house, how are they going to learn language? So they need to learn language early before they go to school. So they have to be taught the sign language in the house by the hearing parents, which doesn't happen often. They have to move around interpreters so that they can learn the language as well.
Okay. Okay. I think it has a similarity to my next question, which says that can a child who has not learned language as a result of circulation from human society be able to learn sign language after the critical period?
Can you come again with a question, please?
Okay, so can a child who has not learned the sign language as a result of circulation from human society be able to learn sign language after the critical period?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
It's possible, but the person will be a little late in learning, writing and recognizing some words. The person is doing a lot. The basic sign language is missed.
Okay.
Visual, but we not be sure as the native signer. So he can communicate, then, but he will not be the same as a native speaker, as a native user of the language.
Okay. This may actually be maybe my last question, and it's very interesting. And I want to ask.
Excuse me. Maybe just to add on what Kweku has said. Sorry, I joined late. My name is Dr. Beatrice Bunyasi Awori. I'm from Kenyatta University.
Okay,
and I've
welcome.
been very impressed to hear Mark Bride presenting. I was in class, so I joined late, but I'll be with you throughout the workshop. The question you are asking, that a child who has been in seclusion, deaf child, and now is he able to learn sign language? The answer is yes, because these children are pre-wired by language mechanism. although they don't hear, but they have that inborn incentive of learning sign language. So they learn sign language, although late, but they learn and catch up because that is their natural language. Sign language is their natural language. I just wanted to add on what Kweku was presenting. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Beatrice. We really appreciate your contribution. That was very useful and informative. Okay, so on this juncture, it's been an interesting and very, very, very educative moment. And thank you all for joining us. We would like to take a break for this and then move on quickly to the second session with another great presenter. And he will be speaking on a very interesting topic you wouldn't like to miss. So please just stay glued on your seat. And on this moment, we would like to thank Dr. McBride and Dr. Jody for your great presentation, your great information. We thank you so much for answering all our questions and doubts and all this information. We hope that at the end of this conference, we actually all come together to advocate for early sign language education. Thank you so much. So without so much wasting of time, I am actually going to introduce the second speaker, but I want to remind us all that this has and is a conference called the International Inclusive Early Childhood Education Forum, which is organized by DeVio Early Childhood Institute, of which Lily Kudrow is the founder. Our theme for this forum is building a global movement to promote national sign languages in the early years. This is IIEC EF 2020, the virtual edition. And on that note, we also apologize sincerely for all the hitches and the challenges that we faced during the beginning. And we really appreciate your patience and your presence. Thank you all very much. Okay, so we move on to our next session, and we would like to hear from our next speaker. I believe you are wondering, who do we have? Okay, our next speaker will be speaking on the topic, the process of language formation, development, and communication in deaf and hearing children in the early years, and how this can be strengthened with sign language. He is in the person of Gabriel Luzu. Gabriel Luzu is a community developmentalist by profession. He has been involved in the areas of child protection under the Eccd District Social Welfare Department, and has been involved in independent living movement and human care association. He was once into the teacher training college pursuing initial primary teacher education, but dropped due to his interest in lobbying and advocacy. So he joined the Malawi National Association of the Deaf in 2014. He first worked as the Assistant Project Officer to Information and Advocacy Officer. He has been involved in a number of programs, policies, and projects, which among others included involvement in the compilation of the Shadow State Party report by the Disability People's Organization, DPO, which is under the Federation of Disability Organization in Malawi. Oh, this is great. With all this expertise and great profile, please, let's all put a smile on our face whilst we welcome to take up the virtual podium Mr. Gabriel Luzu to give us his presentations. He has an hour and we have 15 minutes for questions and answers. Please, you are reminded to share your questions with us at the chat session. And also, please, kindly do us the honors by sharing with us your location. We really want to know your country of representation. So kindly click to the participant column and go to edit. You see a signal called more and then rename. Just add a slash plus your country. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much. And Mr. Gabriel Luzu, kindly take up the virtual podium. Thank you. We are ready to hear from you. Hello, Mr. Gabriel. Oh, Clement, are we ready? Okay.
Okay, we are ready.
Thank
Yeah, I
you,
can see you. That's
Clement.
right. Okay.
Okay.
Hello. Yeah,
Yeah, thank
can
you.
hear,
It is very clear too, yeah?
you can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
You can
it is
hear me
clear.
now?
Yeah, I can see you.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Hands are
okay,
very
okay.
clear. Excellent. Good.
Yeah, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay.
It's great. Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
All right.
Yeah, Malawi is now almost 6 p.m. So I can say good evening to everyone who is participating. Yeah, I think now everyone can open the presentation. And first day, let me say thank you to each and every participant who has managed to register to attend this conference. Yeah, I'm sure I'm loud and I'm clear. Am I live? Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me now?
Yes, Clement, please. Yes.
Yes, yes, I can. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. And now I'm sure every participant can be able to see the presentation.
Yes, we can see him.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so happy now to join you in this conference, and I'm ready to make a presentation right here from Malawi. Once again, my name is Gabriel Luzu from Malawi. And this time around, I want to make a presentation for today for International Inclusive, which is start from 23rd of November. And now the topic is the process of language formation, development, and communication among deaf children in the early years, and how this can be strengthened with sign language. Yeah, and now I'm begging each and every participant to open screen sharing. I hope each and everyone has opened the screen sharing.
Yes, we can see his screen.
Yeah, okay, okay. I hope everyone is able to see the presentation beside myself.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure we are together now.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we can see.
And once again, as I said, this is an international inclusive, which we start on 23rd, which is today. And now the topic is the process of language formation, development, and communication among deaf children in the early years, and how this can be strengthened with sign language. And there's a quote which says, language is a building in which every human being brought a stone. And this was written by unknown. Yeah, and now maybe we'll look at inclusive early childhood education challenges for deaf children right here in Malawi. So I will be talking the situation analyst. The situation, I will analyze the situation right here in Malawi. It is reported that there are approximately 1,556,670 people with disabilities right here in Malawi. This was done by our National Statistics Office right here in Malawi. And then out of the number, we have 377, 700. This number is representing deaf who are men. And then we have we also have a 24.3%. That stands for 24.3%. However, it is believed that the number of the deaf people far exceed the figure indicated in the NSO 2018. Of the 377, 790 people with hearing difficulties, 170, 207, and 266 are reported to be females. But then there are no the real data which indicate people who are not employed, and the number of children themselves. We don't have that data as of now. And now maybe we'll look at the policy analysis. Like otherwise, right here in Malawi, we have the policies and the development of the national policy on early childhood development was established in 2006, led to the establishment of early childhood. And then development centers of languages developed in children in Malawi. And then, however, the data are obtained from focus group discussion and surveys with ECD government and non-governmental bodies has revealed there are no ECD centers. And language development of the deaf children. And thereafter, we see that there's lack of early language development for the children, such as sign language, has led to language defect. Yeah, and now we'll talk about the stakeholders analysis, which happened to, we have the statement made by the stakeholders analysis right here in Malawi. We have a number of stakeholders who are doing the ECD programs. We have the Church of African Presbyterian, in short, CCAP Synod, for Livingstonia in northern region of Malawi. And this institution are implementing the ECD project alongside Save the Children from UK, Holland, and US. So these are the organization and the donors who are supporting the UK, Holland, and USA. And then they have over 500 ECD centers. They also provide schools, feeding programs. And however, they do not support deaf children. So far now, Manad is set to partner with the Synod of Livingstonia to design and implement an ECD deafness interventions program with a specific focus on early identification and language. And now, this time around, we will see the ECD, early child development, and language acquisition of deaf children, the challenges particularly. Now, it is said to be many deaf children are born from the hearing parents who have limited knowledge in sign language. And with this challenge, it's hard for a deaf children to acquire their language as they are deaf. And secondly, there are no proper services and the colleagues work among the ECD programs and they tend to be in isolation. And then there are poor infrastructure of the ECD centers. Just because of this, the program, the deaf children are sent to special schools far from their homes, rather than mainstreaming them due to limited capacity mainstreaming disabled children. And there's a social isolation. There are social isolation of the deaf children. And I think I've already mentioned this point. So as I said, it's important for early intervention and identification. For the deaf children with no language are not exposed to such a language as earlier as possible, just as a spoken language is crucial for the development of ordinary children. So right here, I'll give you the examples of the infrastructure on ECD programs and centers we have. So one of the examples is we have it right here at the presentation, and this is one of it's located in Mzimba, the northern part of Malawi. That is one of the ECD centers. And then we have another one for the CCAP synod right there in Mzimba, in Karonga. This is the second example we have on the presentation. And now far aside, we can see women who are making the voyage for the children. And now we will look at the challenges on the program of the ECDs. Mainly we'll look at the challenge in identification program. The identification and the categorize the deaf are made late as they are reach ages between 7 and 10 years. And for this is too late when they are exposed to sign language. For many deaf children, as early as 2 years old, only use gestures to convey meaning, and while this may sound progressive, and this can sound progressive, it cannot equate to sign language grammar. And then the second point is inadequate funding for ECD programs. The inadequate funding of ECD programs and ECD management structures, capacity and knowledge on children with disabilities. And then the other point is there is lack of motivation, support to care givers, to teachers and parents alike. Yeah, and the other challenge is there is lack of ECD deaf interventions manual, which can provide a guideline on how best to mainstream deaf children in ECD programs. And the other challenge, there's no clear data that is provided for ECD or deaf children. And then none of the special needs teachers who are training programs covered ECD of deaf children. And now we will look at the recommendation or solutions on how we can come up with the programs. Firstly, it's good maybe to introduce interpreters in schools or newsrooms and at different programs, even entertainments is vital component in the language acquisition of deaf children. And on the second point, and there's a need of a set up monitoring mechanism of ECD education. And point number 3, the introduction of new policies on rehabilitation, even screening in hospitals, and as well as in health centers. And then point number 4, we look at ECD management committees need in-depth training to mainstream disability in ECDs. And point number 5, all ECDs programs should be taught in universities, even in colleges. It's good to mainstream the disability issues. They should have a content that covers disability issues. And then point number 5, it was also noted that parents of the deaf and the other children with disabilities need to accompany their children to ECD schools to support them, bringing them to schools. At the same time, most of them are coming from the poor families. So those parents need to support as they always accompany their children with disability to school. Yeah, and now on point number 8. Yeah, the Eccd teachers and parents together need to be trained in sign language. And also the caregivers, they also need to have an in-depth awareness on how Eccd guidelines operate. And also Eccd management committees, they need to motivate caretakers, for example, teachers and even parents, in form of monetary gains. I think this can help them to improve Eccd. And this support the motivation to caregivers and teachers to work without feeling strained. And then although some Eccd structures are already on the ground, there's need to develop an environmental friendly, inclusive infrastructure for children with disabilities and additional support needs. Yeah, thank you very much. I think this is the end of my presentation, and thank you very much to all participants who are listening to my presentation. So I'm just finishing now. So thank you once again. Yeah, thank you.
We still have the screen. Thank you so much, Mr. Gabriel Luzu. This was really, really interesting and thought-provoking, especially with the recommendations. I find them very, very important and very essential, of which if every country, especially in Africa, will adopt to this and take these measures very seriously, I think we will really solve the issue of marginalization when it comes to language barriers between the hearing and the non-hearing. Thank you. Your presentation has been really great. Moving on, we would like to take the questions from the participants all over. And we say thank you to everybody that has joined us so far. So good. If you have been with us since the beginning, you will know that this conference has been very impactful. I would like to share with you the first question from Hannah. Hannah says she asked the question and she said, I think advocacy or sensitization of parents to the need of children with hearing impairment in the area of language acquisition might be necessary, as even in Nigeria, parents of children with special needs see it as a wow, Dr. Mr. Please, Hannah made a very interesting comment, and she emphasized, having a little bit of hearing issue. What do you have to say about this? I think this cuts across. Even here in Ghana, there are times where certain parents also kind of behave like this. What do you think about this? What do you have to say about this?
Are you asking? Good evening. Are you asking me? Is the question posed to me? Good evening.
Hannah made a suggestion. She wrote a comment on, oh, Hannah, thank you for joining us. Yeah, good evening. I love your comments that you were shameful about having that. So I would like Mr. Gabriel Luzu to tell us more about how to handle such situations.
Okay.
Yeah, come again on that question. I think it was up and down just because of the network itself. So I think it's a question, then it was not clear.
Okay. So Hannah says that with the issue, okay, let me go back to Hannah's question quickly. It wasn't really a question though, but she was also bringing up a comment, and she said she think advocacy and sensitization of parents to the need of children with hearing impairments in the area of language acquisition might be necessary, as even in Nigeria. So she uses Nigeria as her study case. Parents of children with special needs see it as a shameful thing to declare that they have such children. And I can also attest to that fact that here in Ghana as well, such habits are all over. What do we do with situations like this? How do we handle situations? What are your thoughts on situations like this? Mr. Gabriel, are we together?
Yeah, we are together. Yeah, I think he will answer anytime.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think in my presentation, I've talked something about focus groups and self-awarenesses. I think we should have a continuous awareness on parents, even the leaders. Most of the Africans like cultural practices. I think we have some challenges whereby you find that the deaf people are not well recognized, and they are living out deliberately. So all in all, as deaf people, we need more awareness each and every time. I think this should be happening to almost each and every country in Africa.
Okay, and thank you.
Develop some, yeah, we can develop even early area committees.
Okay.
And even when we have some committees, which was made in local, in rural areas, I think it's good for maybe for the leaders, even the chiefs themselves, to include parents who have got children with different disabilities, so that they should know and learn each and every day.
Okay, okay.
And even we know that parents with people with children with disabilities also live with in our communities. We live together in different communities. So even the parents association that is made from different schools, they should include the community development. They should include those parents who have got children with disabilities.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know if the answers are in line with the question that was asked.
Yes, it's so much in line with the question, and I really, really enjoyed that. And I'm sure Miss Hannah also really enjoyed it. We move to Miss Hannah's next question, where she asked that, are the early childhood centers in Malawi fully inclusive in nature? Are they fully inclusive in nature?
Yeah, that's a good question. Right here in Malawi, we are far away from these programs. I think if it is percentage, I can say maybe it's 1%, if that is, but they are not included.
Oh, wow. That's really, really serious. 1%, that's really serious. Miss Hannah. Hello, Hannah.
Hello.
Yes. So Mr. Gabriel has spoken about your comments and your questions.
Question.
Please,
Yeah.
are you okay with the answers?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm okay. I see it as a serious issue. If that is the case, it means the children, there is inequality when it comes to Eccd program in Malawi.
Yeah.
So the children are segregated. There is discrimination.
Okay. Okay. That's so far. Thank
Thank
you
you
so much. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Thank you so much. And we are reminded that it is for these reasons why this forum has been organized, so that we all can be ambassadors and advocates of this great, topic. Seriously, I am so passionate about the inclusiveness of children of hearing disabilities in our hearing society. This is very, very important, because when certain aspects of the society feel marginalized, there is actually going to be a problem with the total development of the country or the community as a whole, which does not help. So thank you. I would like to ask my next question, whilst every participant is also encouraged to still keep the questions coming whilst we address them for you. So, Mr. Gabriel, I would like to ask, is speech and language therapy one of the ways to go? If yes, why? And if no, why?
Yeah, come again.
I would like to ask, is speech and language therapy one of the ways to go? If yes, why? And if no, why?
Yeah, I can say that for each and every person to be assessed, I think even the speech therapy is more important.
Okay.
But it's too more, there should be two ways, so we cannot take it away. Because if we look at the deaf themselves, we are different. We are different in hearing. There are some who are hard of hearing, and others they are they're born deaf. They are complete deaf. So still more, these two things they come together. So we cannot say the speech therapy should go. No. I think it has to be there.
Okay.
The most important part is that maybe teachers can use both the sign language and speech, so that maybe some other children may adapt faster in lip reading, and others can go with the signs themselves. So it has to go both together.
Okay. Thank you very much. I would like to also ask my next question. Are we ready?
Yeah, you can ask.
Okay, great. So my next question is, what are some of the emerging issues in hearing and other sensory and communication disorders which parents, can look out for so they can adopt proactive measures and strengthen children's challenges, since we're talking about language formation as well?
Yeah, okay. You can come again with the question. I think you are too fast.
Sorry about that. So my question is, what are some of the emerging issues in hearing and other sensory and communication disorders which parents can look out for so that they can adopt a protective measures in strengthening children's challenges, as we're looking at language formation as well? Are we together?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, in short, I can say, all in all, it's part of the human rights. If we look at the UNCRPD, it's clear that children with different disabilities, they have the children, their parents should take a full responsibility to adapt the ways to protect their children who have got different disabilities.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for the answer. We thank also every participant joining us. We seriously appreciate you, as you know, and we again apologize for the onset technical challenges that we had. You have been very great and very, very patient with us. We also thank the previous speakers, Dr. Jody and Dr. McBride. But before we go, I would like to tackle just one or two last questions so that we can all say goodbye whilst we look forward to tomorrow to have another interesting and interactive session. So my next question to Mr. Gabriel Luzu is that how do language acquisition for deaf children reduce harms of zero tolerance to the use of alternative approaches?
Yeah, come again.
How do language acquisition for deaf children reduce harms of zero tolerance to the use of alternative approaches?
Okay, for language acquisition, it helps. It helps. It helps and protects the children to speak in their language, just because.
Okay.
If we look at the capacity language itself, they can vote out the challenges whereby they do meet in their everyday life.
Okay.
So it's good for them to acquire the language just because they mostly they can speak on their own. They can speak out rather than using the communicators or interpreters.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's so wonderful. Thank you so much for the answers.
Yeah,
do we have
okay?
any more? Yes, it's okay. I really enjoy the answers. I like the point of the children being independent. The independent aspect is very essential because sometimes when they have to depend on other people to be translating and all that, and then at the moment where they critically need search translators and they are not there, the question is how do they function well? How do they mingle? And how do they even become very effective with whatever goal that they are doing? So I really enjoyed that answer and I really loved it. I listened very well. Thank you once again, Mr. Gabriel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have more questions that we have to check up? If we have more questions.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Gabriel Luzu, for such great information. You've been very educative and I have learned a lot, and I'm going to make good use of it. And I believe all participants as well have learned a lot. Thank you. And I would also want to say thank you to Dr. Jody and Dr. McBride. You have been very awesome. The beginning of this conference have started on a good note, and I am looking forward to it continuing until 25th of November to 2020. And I don't want to miss anybody at all. We are reminded again, if you are here and probably you still cannot get why you are here, this has been the International Inclusive Early Childhood Education Forum and organized by the VIO Early Childhood Institute. The whole reason, the whole theme is to build a global movement to promote national sign language in the early years. And it is IIECEF 2020. When you go on your various social media handles and you post all these great ideas that you had here, please do well to tag us and write IIECEF 2020. It's been an awesome time. I thank every participant that have made time to be here. Your contributions has been awesome. I just cannot say thank you enough for all that you did. Remember that the VIO Early Childhood Institute is founded by Lily Kudrow. Lily Kudrow will be joining us for the last session, and she will also share her thoughts about sign languages and what is actually happening on ground. Nonetheless, this conference continues tomorrow, same time, and we promise that it's going to be better and more interesting and more informative. Tomorrow, we're going to have great speakers also. And I'll just like to give you a little bit of their names so that you know what to expect tomorrow. Don't miss out. Tomorrow we're going to have Mr. Ivo van Dan Brandt and Thomas Sabella and Ellen Nees joining us to give us very great, insight on the topic, the critical role of technology and play-focused approaches in shaping and expanding the inclusive language acquisition pedagogy using National Sign Language. I have really enjoyed this session, and I do not know about you. So I'm reading something also from Jody in the chat session, and he said, signed language is accessible for all regardless of degree of hearing. So it means we all here on this platform can have access to learning the sign language so we can become effective ambassadors wherever we find ourselves, being it the home community, the church community, wherever, even the playground, and then we are able also to encourage the younger ones to learn it more. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, everyone. It's been great having you, and I look forward to seeing you all join us. We are using the same link, the link that was shared for you in your email that you joined. We are using the same link to join for tomorrow's session. So please don't just get frustrated as to where do I join in. Please use same link, save it, and then join us at exactly same time from our various country location. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for pushing up sign language in the early years. Thank you for being great advocates. I really appreciate. My name is Christabel Odonko, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be your moderator for today. I cannot wait to have you again tomorrow when we're going to have a great time together. Please do well to also share, the flyer and the registration link with a friend, your partner, and your contact so that they can also learn more about this innovative conference and transformative conference. The wider the gap, the wider the gap of knowledge, the wider we kind of push away the marginalization and all the issues of sign language in our community. I really, really enjoyed you all. Thank you. So we would like to know, so does anybody have something to share or say about the conference? The speakers are here. Maybe you would like to say something before we go. You can just unmute yourself if your background is good and say something. Maybe you want to tell the speakers something in person. You can just do that and then we say goodbye. So who do we have? I think Ms. Hannah is going to start with us. Thank you so much, Ms. Hannah.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed the session, and I hope to be here tomorrow by God's grace. Thank you to all the speakers. I have learned a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Hannah. Thank you, Ms. Hannah. Clement and Francis have been great interpreters. We thank you for your time. I mean, it's so awesome seeing you do all the things. I can't wait to start doing the sign language, so that next time I can just be combining the moderation and the language. That'll be very interesting. So you've been great. You've been great. Do you have something to share, Clement and Francis?
Well, it's been great. I've really enjoyed this session, and the participants and those who delivered, they've really touched on areas I would like to talk about. Early acquisition, just like any spoken language, you don't start early, you don't become proficient in the language. So I think we need to advocate for that. Teachers who are assigned to deaf schools should be trained to know sign language before they get to the schools. And also, growing up, we had, rhymes, children's song. We should develop these in sign language for the deaf children. So when you make learning enjoyable, people always want to go to school. When we're kids, we go to school because we're going to meet friends, we're going to have fun, we're going to say rhymes, and these things have been with us forever. But is it when it comes to the deaf education, we don't have these rhymes in there. So everything is very strict. They don't enjoy education, and they are identified very late. So this is one area in Ghana, for example. Somebody is 10 years old and is going to class 1, or 12 years old, you are in class 1. It doesn't really make sense. You should be in 9th grade or 10th grade at that age. But you start all over. They don't go to crèche. They don't have kindergarten. They don't have anything. So the elementary, the basic things they need to acquire their natural language, they miss out on them. Because of the ability to hear, we look at people, we listen to people. Sometimes we don't pay attention to what they are saying. And when we get opportunity to talk, we remember what they said. Deaf people are deprived of some of these things because people do not use the language. In schools, teachers are talking, they are speaking Tree, they are speaking Gan, they are speaking Fancy, they are speaking English. Whilst they're supposed to be signing, you're in a deaf school, why do you speak? You're supposed to be signing. And these deaf children can pick these signs and, improve upon it. And I think that is the surest way deaf people can improve. Once you acquire language very early, then you can do a lot more, development, and you can read and understand. But when the foundation is not strong, you don't expect the building to be stronger when it is completed.